This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and it is a post-apocalyptic Monday here.
Yeah.
The 2020
season is in the books.
Season is finally in the books. The Philadelphia Eagles really just manhandling the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Wasn't even remotely a game.
No, I really blown away by that. I mean, I give the Eagles all the credit in the world, but boy, I did not see that coming. And I've talked to a couple, I was talking to these guys. I mean, it's like, if they played that game 10 times, would the Chiefs win any of them? I mean, it wasn't like, boy,
playing
just
like that.
Bounce went the wrong way, or, I mean, there was nothing other than stopping Saquon that they did well. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing, right.
It was ugly the whole way around.
It really was.
It was almost like you almost wanted to just turn the game off at halftime. It was 24-0.
It was over.
It's
right.
over. It's done.
And speaking of that, I mean, the Chiefs get the ball in the second half. So, I'm thinking, well, Brady did it to get to the Falcons. Maybe there's some kind of crazy Mahomes comeback. I'm not going to put anything across this guy. They get the ball, sack, punt. I mean, like 2 sacks on the first 3 plays and coming out of the half. Like, this doesn't look any different at all. And
no.
I mean, they didn't make any adjustments. I'm not real big on flat or better prepared or blah, blah, blah. But one team was playing at a different speed than the other. The Chiefs just kept doing the same things over and over. Like, the stuff I can't get my head around is the Eagles blitzed 0 times. 0. And I don't think they even blitzed against the Steelers. They're not a blitz team. They're a bring 4, drop 7, a lot of zone, cover 4. But Andy Reid, who I think is a phenomenal head coach and a wonderful mastermind of offense, he sent 5 eligibles out in a route.
That's what they do.
On 81% of the dropbacks.
It's just what they do.
Yeah. I mean, like, and then one of them, I remember Kelsey's, they kept in the block, and he's one-on-one with Sweat. Good luck with that. He just ran right through him. I mean, keep Pirine in or a Noah Gray or something. I mean, make some kind of change.
Well,
trust in Mahomes.
When everybody's being beaten.
Everyone's being beaten, right.
It didn't really matter.
It really didn't. And the other thing that no one seems to be talking about is, yes, the O-line got destroyed, but no receivers got open either.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they would take the strategy that they did, which was much of what the KC did against the Steelers. 2.1, get it out. 2.2, we know we can't protect.
I thought that's exactly what they would do.
And I think that is, but nobody got open.
Right.
I mean, Mahomes is, sack, and his feet are all messed up, and, it's a disaster,
So,
like, Rashee Rice would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Jerry
Rice would have been really helpful.
Real helpful. Both of them, yeah.
So, to me, looking at this, and people, the Steelers are so far off from being able to do that, and I don't think they are.
I don't either. I don't think they're one Saquon Barkley signing away from being Super Bowl champs.
Not saying that at all.
But I think that it's not a coincidence that Andy Weidl comes from the Philadelphia Eagles and has been part of 2 off seasons, and they've invested in linemen, and I bet they continue to. And this isn't even a Steeler point. I was just on Mark Madden's show and said it gave me I was hoping that the league hasn't gotten to the point where you have to have Lamar, Burrow, Allen, or Mahomes, that there's another path to beating those guys. And I think the Eagles showed it to us. Run the football, win in the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, be the best defense in the league. And these are things that are attainable for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they have Devontae Smith, Goddard, A.J. Brown, and Barkley running around the facility on the south side, but start building the trenches. They already have. Be great in the trenches, and then start putting these cherries on top, And I know that they don't have a quarterback yet. I mean, we know all those things, but it's not as far away as you think. It's the same model, at least. You know?
I mean, if you look at the defense, just start with offensively, they've drafted, and I tweeted out yesterday right around halftime, that tell me again that the Steelers don't need to draft defensive linemen.
Right.
And about half of the responses were, yeah, but the offense. They need an offensive lineman. They got to fix that. I'm like, they've drafted 5 offensive linemen in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Three of them
in the first 2 rounds.
3 in the first 2 rounds. How about we let those guys grow in. These are puppies. Let them grow into their feet a little bit.
Yeah, see who you hit, who you missed. I mean, the intentions are strong in that direction, and that's something I was just saying on Mark's shows. Like, they've made 5 picks in the last 2 years, the Omar regime. 3 of them are O-linemen, 1 of them's a big D lineman, and 1 of them's a corner that looks like Quinion Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're doing. And 1 more year of that, I mean, I guarantee they draft a D lineman in the first 2 rounds. And I know people are going to say, you're blowing smoke, Matt. You're crazy. Didn't you watch the last month of the season? Steelers front is as good as the Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, TJ Watt and Highsmith and Cam, I know they had problems against the run, but that's one of the few D lines that's as good as the Eagles.
It's one of the few. And again, I think if you get that other corner to match up with Joey Porter Jr., which you can get either from free agency or you can do it via the draft, it may be better to do it via free agency, so you stagger that a little bit more.
Right. You're spending an age and all that kind of stuff, right?
And you also, the problem that you have with taking rookie cornerbacks, you don't know.
They get picked on, too.
They get picked on, and you don't know that the scheme is going. I mean, you've talked about it in the past. How many college teams come out and play, I'm going to get up in your face and play man defense? None.
Right. No.
So you're projecting a lot of it.
One thing I've kind of changed my tune on a little just watching that game, though, is along those lines, which is kind of a side note, is big thing I've stressed this last month since the Steelers got eliminated is need to find another corner that can play man and blitz and wreak havoc and make every quarterback look like Mahomes. I just don't know that has to be man, though. I mean, like, Fangio lives in cover 4. Just be good.
Yeah,
I mean,
just be good.
Just be good. I mean, you could be a great zone cover corner, too. I mean, Steelers play a lot of cover 3. They play a lot of zone. Doesn't have to be in your face press man.
Right.
So give me another really, really good corner that Mahomes, when he gets the ball out of his hands in 2.2 seconds, isn't verse off coverage or it's into a much more crowded situation. Because I know I can get home. I mean, I can wreak havoc with the pass rush.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, when you compare the Steelers and Eagles, one's the Super Bowl champ. We know that. I mean, they're ahead of the Steelers, of course. But the defense isn't nearly as far away from the Eagles' defense as the offense is. I mean, I could put one offseason, I could get the Steelers' defense to that level talent-wise. I mean, it doesn't mean execution. It's not that hard.
It's not even a stretch to do it.
No, it doesn't mean they'll be the best defense in the league or execute as well. But you could have a comparable defensive roster to the Eagles on opening day this year.
I mean, if you look at it, the Steelers are better than the Eagles at safety. I know nobody's going to want to hear, he's terrible. No, he's not.
No.
The Steelers are better there. They're comparable at inside linebacker, and I know that Bond had a great year this year.
He did.
But the other guys around him are,
Dean was fine, but then he got hurt,
You're better on the edge.
The edges are better. Yeah. Corners worse, D tackles worse, but not terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if Cam and Carter are a wash, they just have a lot of them.
Yeah, they have a bevy that they just keep throwing at you.
Which I think is a new Steeler philosophy. I mean, did they have to draft 5 O-linemen in 2 years? No. 4 probably would have been fine, but they're going to the extra one.
And Cam's also 35 years old.
Yeah, that's
this time last year, the question was, do you sign Cam to an extension? He might be done. No, he's not done, but he's a lot closer to being done. Than you'd like, and you better replace him.
Of course. No, I think I would be shocked if that isn't the Steelers' organizational philosophy, and they've shown it to us over the last 2 years. But I think it'll continue. We do it in mocks a lot. They might draft 2.
I would.
Yeah. I have no problem in a great D tackle draft. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm a receiver short this year, we'll see.
We'll see about that because as we get through this whole thing, I mean, now Deebo Samuels is available. I mean, there's going to be guys available.
There will be.
At the wide receiver position who can step in and make you a better football team.
Yep. I mean, the Eagles weren't built in a day. I mean, this goes back to Kelsey and Lane Johnson and, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. But they started just throwing insane amount of resources, mostly draft picks, on 300-pound people and edges. And that just allows you to put the cherry on top by, and this is the year we can send a first-round pick for A.J. Brown. This is the year we can sign Saquon. Those pieces fall into place. I mean, if you can build the lines, the other stuff's a lot easier to find.
Yeah.
You know,
it just kind of everything else kind of falls together. But
I want to throw something at you that Mark mentioned to me just now too, that I think is really poignant in that every team's looking for their Mahomes. Of course. The hit rate's so bad, though.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great. If the answer is find your next Mahomes, great. And you should never stop trying. I'm not implying that. I'm not saying, just sign Kirk Cousins this year and another old guy next year, blah, blah, blah. But linemen hit. I mean, if you draft linemen and linemen, you're going to always have a super high floor. And maybe you do stumble into your next Mahomes in the process or whatever. But to just trade 4 picks to go to 2nd overall and draft Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud and hope you got your next superstar, that's a starting guard, a defensive tackle, an end, in a center, that makes up half my team.
Yeah. I mean,
what I mean?
And some people argue, well, they play a 3-4, so you don't just play.
Right.
You don't just play 3 defensive linemen the whole game.
No.
I mean, ideally, Cam Hayward was at 70% of the defensive snaps this year, which means 30%.
That's asking a lot.
30% of the time he's not out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you better have somebody capable. You can't be, when he's on the field, 3.7 yards per carry, and when he's off at 5.1.
Right, you can't.
It just can't be that.
Best in the league versus worst in the league.
It can't be that massive a gap.
Right.
It just can't. So you better replace that guy and replace him now. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles didn't wait to replace Kelsey.
No.
They drafted a year ahead.
Right. They're so good at that in all positions. Ertz is getting old. We're going to take Goddard in the 2nd round. We don't need him. Juergens, you're going to sit around for a year,
Play some guard or do whatever.
Yeah. And so they're really, really good at that. I mean, they did it with quarterback, with Hurts to Wentz. We don't really need one, but we like this guy, But I thought last night was really encouraging from a Steelers and like 25 teams in the league standpoint. But I think the Steelers are further along on their Eagles-like build than other teams are in that, okay, it's really hard to deal with Allen and Jackson and all these dudes. But there's a path. I mean, you can.
If you're beating him up.
Yeah. I mean, if nobody blocks or catches or gets open for him, he's going to have a long day.
Yeah.
So,
it also helps you deal with the teams in your division.
100%.
I mean, you got to deal with Lamar Jackson. You got to deal with Joe Burrow. You got to deal with whatever slappy the Browns run out there next year. But the point being, you've got 2 very great quarterbacks in your division.
Mm-hmm.
You better be able to get after them.
You need to make their life hard.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing I've been stressing this year is lead the league in sacks next year. I don't care how you get there. If you're bringing 6 – I mean, the Eagles didn't blitz once. But if you're bringing 7-man pressures because you trust your corner and Jamar Chase gets past you for an 80-yarder once in a while, but Burrow's on his back 10 more times than he would have been, sign me up. Maybe he doesn't finish the game. But I want to make life – hell on opposing quarterbacks, and they have the guys to do it.
Yeah. This crazy thing about the game yesterday, and I don't know if you realize this, Jalen Carter,
mm-hmm.
How many tackles do you think he had?
I bet very few.
How many sacks do you think he had?
I know he had 0 sacks.
He had no sacks, no tackles, no assists. He had 2 quarterback hits. But those are quarterback hits that affect the game. He also drew holding penalties and things.
Holding penalty. He was getting doubled a lot.
He also punched Mahomes in the face and should have been penalized for that.
But not that it mattered at that point of the game, but that's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having that guy creates opportunities for other guys.
Sweat's a really good player. Williams is a really good player, but he's better, and the stats are.
But you can't just be the one guy. It's got to be everybody around.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy. Milton Williams goes out and has 2 sacks in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We loved Milton Williams a few years ago in the draft, but An
interesting thing about the Eagles build to me is if you look at their defense, other than Slay and Bond, everybody's homegrown, including Dean. And I tweeted this out. 9 of their 11 starters, that doesn't even count DeJean because he's the nickel. They're all drafted, developed. And one thing Roseman does so well, and he does it on both sides of the ball, is he just goes for extreme athletes. Like you mentioned Milton Williams. One of the reasons we liked him was his combine was ridiculous.
Insane.
Mulatto wasn't even a football player when they drafted him, and they developed him into a
Gardner Johnson's not theirs either.
I thought they drafted him. He went somewhere else, and he came back. I know he went somewhere else. But
He was in New Orleans.
New Orleans drafted him.
New Orleans drafted him. Yeah, he's not theirs.
Okay. So there's 3 that don't play a ton. Dean, I counted as a starter because he's a starter. He just got hurt. Bond and Slay was drafted by the Lions. But they're almost all homegrown. I mean, all the D-line, going back to Cox and all those dudes. They brought Hargrave in at one point. But they go after extreme athletes. Like, it's a goofy guy to bring up. But their third-round pick this year, we talked about him. Remember Jalix Hunt?
Yeah.
He's from Houston Christian. And 2 years ago, he's a safety. And now he's a defensive end. And he had the most insane combine ever. And he's active. And Huff, who they went out and signed, people don't remember that, by the way. Everyone talks about Roseman never misses. Their biggest investment in the offseason was Huff from the Jets. And he hasn't played a lick, and he's a healthy scratch. But they're developing Hunt, and they're developing these guys. You know, they're just extreme athletes and coaching them up.
Yeah, I mean, and you just go out there and do it that way. I mean, you know.
You got to draft and develop. I mean, that's part of the coaching staff's job too, obviously.
Right. And you fill in, you know, with whatever you need, whatever you missed on or whatever you can't draft everything.
No. I mean, they had great vision with Bond to make him a edge guy and take him off the ball and things like that. I mean, that's wonderful. Or I don't know that most teams would have turned Mulata into a Pro Bowl left tackle. I mean, Stoutland's a Munchak-like offensive line coach. I mean, so they have a lot of things going for them.
They're also the team that, again, I mentioned this last week, they had Alejandro Villanueva because of that exact thing.
That same thing.
Same thing.
They've been trying this for a while.
Look at that big athlete. Let's try to turn him into something. They tried to make him a defensive lineman. That didn't work.
Okay. I didn't realize that part of the story. Yeah.
You know, he comes to the Steelers. They make him an offensive. It's the same. It's the Mulata thing. The Steelers just beat them to it in that particular instance. But
right path, wrong hour, or whatever for the Eagles.
But you can do things like that. You know, and take some flyers on guys like that in late rounds. Again, if you're just building, build. And
even all their Georgia guys are obviously extreme testers and athletes, and you know, I mean, they're defensive front guys. You know, so no, they did an amazing job from ownership to GM to coaches to players, but they didn't have the superhero quarterback, and he played well. I mean, his deep balls, he was protected really, really well, and I thought Hurts was stepped up in big games, and he was really dangerous with his feet. But you can win against Mahomes, you know. I mean, I think that's the lesson to learn. You know,
Absolutely.
You can build something that can beat those.
Well,
guys.
It goes back, and I've said this multiple times, Matt. If you look at that playoff game the Steelers played in Kansas City in 2021, the Steelers defense goes out there and shuts them down 6 consecutive possessions.
Yeah.
Including scoring on a fumble. But the offense did nothing to complement. Where the Eagles' offense is controlling. You know, Saquon Barkley didn't have a monster game, but they were controlling the clock, and they're
I was just saying,
hitting a play here or there.
It's so un-Chiefs-like, and the Chiefs' defense was far from perfect, but they did their job in the first half.
Yeah,
I mean, before they were on the field for 3/4 of the snaps, they shut down Barkley, and one of the early touchdowns was a pick six. That wasn't on them, and I'm sure that defense is like, man, can't Mahomes and Kelsey and Xavier Worthy and these guys get me a first down at least? I mean, I tweeted this out. The Chiefs' offense had a 4% success rate in the first half. 4% of their plays were deemed a success. That's only getting 4 yards on first down.
I don't even know how it was that.
Yeah, right. I mean, every play was bad.
But if you look at this game, 6 possessions in, it was 24-0.
You talking about last night or
last night?
Oh, okay, yeah, not the Chiefs. I think you're talking about Chiefs Steelers.
6 possessions. The Steelers gave them like 10 possessions in the first half of the game because they didn't do anything offensively.
They couldn't do a thing, right.
But you can do that if your offense is playing along and you're scoring some points.
Yeah, 3 and out is not going to cut it.
Doesn't do you any good,
especially a big physical run first Eagles type team.
Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, apparently we can't go 10 minutes without talking about the Steelers quarterback situation.
Understandable.
And over the weekend, well, Sunday actually, Adam Schefter came out with a report that said The Steelers have had ongoing conversations with Russell Wilson, but haven't yet spoken to Justin Fields about a long-term contract situation.
Okay.
Kind of flies a little bit in the face of some reports that are out there.
And say everything you read is one way direction or the other. You know what I mean? And it makes me just think that they have not 100% made up their mind, or I don't know. I mean, I guess you could follow the leads and say who would tell Schefter, whoever, Glazer, whoever, what do they have to gain by telling him? Schefter's pretty darn reputable, though. And
so here's what's going on, and I'll explain it. So you got a month before the start of free agency.
Mm-hmm.
A month from today will be the illegal tampering period opens.
Oh, is it actually today?
It's a month from today. So as of right now, because they don't have one under contract, the Steelers don't know who their quarterback is going to be for 2025. That is not unusual because, as I mentioned, they don't have one under contract.
Right. They're allowed to negotiate a contract with their guys.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you could talk about that stuff, but there are variables that have to take place here. Like they could prefer Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, who's going to be a free agent, could prefer to test the market.
Right.
It's
part of the equation.
It works both ways.
Yes.
They could also prefer Russell Wilson.
He has the same rights.
He has the same rights. He
Yeah.
can say, you know what, I want to see what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you keep the door open for both guys because Art Rooney II has gone on record saying he would prefer their quarterback to be one of those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
That has not changed. That was just 2 weeks ago from today.
Yeah, right. I don't think anything's changed on their desires as an organization.
No.
Right.
And they'll look at the quarterback market in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
They'll look at free agency.
They're
but
doing all that.
They would
They've
prefer
done
that it
already,
be one of those two guys. But they're not going to paint themselves into a corner and say, well, it's going to be this guy and nobody else, and we don't want to talk to that guy anymore.
Mm-hmm. And would you say Schefter's report were that they've had contract talks?
They've had talks with Russell Wilson. They will at some point have talks with Justin Fields.
Okay. So, I mean,
Again,
you're crazy
you've got
not to have talks.
You've got a month before any of this stuff has to happen.
Fields might think he's a $20 million a year player. They might
Right.
think he's a $10 million a year player. I mean, and he says, "Well, I think 3 teams will compete and get me to $20 million, and I'll go be a Giant or a Jet or something." Okay, well, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah,
right.
That's why it's called free agency.
Mm-hmm.
It's not called we got you locked in free agency.
Right. And I'm sure both or either would love to come back. But they might see a system they like better out there, or all these guys have played with many different people on other teams, whether in college or pros or obviously, and hey, you'd be a better fit with us. Okay, I'm definitely up to that idea.
Or, hey, come to our state. It doesn't have any state sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature.
Things like that, right.
There's all kinds of things in play
Your
here.
parents are there.
Right. Justin Fields is from Georgia, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe he wants to move back. Who knows?
Right.
He want to move back south.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what the player wants to do.
Yeah.
There are already reports out there. Devontae Adams, the Jets are going to part ways with him. They're also going to get rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And the reports are already, Devontae Adams wants to go to the West Coast.
Right.
That would be his prerogative.
He's allowed, yeah, right. I mean, as long as the West Coast team's going to send him offer him a contract, he can.
There's plenty of teams out there. I'm sure one of them would love to have Devontae Adams.
Is your hunch at this point, though, with exactly a month before free agency, do you think the Steelers have prioritized which quarterback they would prefer, or do you think those are still ongoing talks?
Here's what I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is just me putting this out there from what I know of the situation. They will have offers on the table for both guys.
Okay.
I would assume, unless they make an offer to they say, okay, here's our offer, and this guy takes it, and then they say, okay, we'll still have this offer on the table for the other guy if things don't work out, but we'd love to have you back, but if you think you're a starter somewhere else, so be it.
You don't think it's was it Wallace AB or was it Emmanuel Sanders AB where they put the exact same contract?
It was Wallace and AB.
Okay, whoever signs it first, the other one goes away. I mean, I would think there'd be 2 different type contracts.
It would be 2 different. It's not going to be the same contract.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, here's what we're willing to pay you. Here's what we're willing to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of them,
you want to go down that road,
yeah,
right? Okay. And whoever acts first probably has the jump on things.
'Cause I don't know that, overall, in the grand scheme of things, there is a lot a lot of difference between the two. I know some people do.
Right.
But you're looking at a bridge quarterback. The Steelers' quarterback in 2027, I don't believe is on the roster right now.
I don't either. It might not even be in the league.
Right.
Right. No, I tend to agree. Now, I think a lot of it, though, is not that there's urgency, but you'd go after a different type receiver.
Right.
Or a different type left guard or whatever if it's a Fields offense versus a Wilson offense.
That's why I think we will know more when we start doing shows in Indianapolis in 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We'll be heading to Indianapolis. I think we'll have a much better idea of what
they're looking for,
what they're doing. I don't expect Omar Khan to come out and tell us, yes, this is exactly what we're doing, but we'll have a better idea of what direction they're headed in that quarterback market.
And they will too, obviously. Yeah. I mean,
they don't have to know right now.
Right,
There's nothing that there are several teams out there right now who don't know what they're doing at quarterback in 2025.
Oh yeah, I mean the Titans might be one of them too. They're the first pick in the draft. They could try to. The
Jets just decided we're done with Aaron Rodgers. They don't have a quarterback.
No backup plan at all either.
They have no quarterback.
Right, they have nobody. And again, it might be
the Browns have no quarterback.
Well, there's a lot. Raiders are all over the place, But maybe it's even we prefer Wilson. I'm just hypothetically, but this is my top dollar for him, which will be higher than Fields per year. And if he wants more than that, I don't want you that bad. I want you X amount of dollars per year bad. And Fields at a cheaper price is more attractive then. Okay, Russ, you first bite at the apple. Here's the best we can do. They negotiate for a day or two. We're too far off. Well, we love you, but we're Justin at half the price makes more sense for us, or whatever it is.
I don't even know. I don't know that it's going to be. I think people are underestimating exactly what Justin Fields' market could be.
I don't know what to think of it.
Because I think there's a number of teams. Now, they may not say, hey, Justin, we're going to bring you in and you're going to be our unquestioned starter.
Right.
But I do think that there are some teams out there that, hey, we'd like to have Justin Fields in here to compete for our starting job.
Yeah.
And that's going to push that price tag up more than what we see on Spot Track, $6 or $7 million. He's getting more than that.
He's going to get double digits.
He's going to get more than that.
Yeah, and there are some teams that have funny money too.
Yeah.
I mean, that can pay whatever you want. I have mixed feelings on that because in the end, I agree with you because there's too many chairs in the musical chair world and there's not enough quarterbacks. And if this was a year ago and there were 6 first-round quarterbacks in the mix, I got a pretty good chance to get one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe the Raiders were like the only team that got shut out.
It's this year's running back market.
Yeah. But I also think you could look at the flip side of the coin and be like, well, anyone could have matched the Steelers' offer or better when he was leaving Chicago. And I don't think his stock is worth more now than it was then.
I think it's slightly more than that.
We saw some games, but
we saw flashes of, okay, this was better than it was in Chicago.
There's actually more of that than we've even brought up.
Yeah.
Like some of the advanced numbers, completion rate over expectation. There's 4 or 5 really key metrics that have gone up every year of Fields' career and took the biggest spike this past season.
No, it was a short sample size.
Yeah, that's the thing. What he started 6 games or something like that. It's okay. I mean, if I had a B- grade on him 1 year ago, does it move up to a B+? No, but it doesn't move up. Maybe it moves to a B. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's same ballpark.
It probably the fact that nobody wanted to make the deal for him tells me it probably wasn't a B-.
Well, I know. I was being very kind. I mean, if it was a 70 out of 100, now it's a 72. You know, and everyone recognized the upside. But you can't. Your grade didn't. If you're a pro staff for the the wrong team, Cardinals, Seahawks, whoever,
Colts.
Yeah, anyone. It doesn't even matter. Yeah. Everyone has a grade on him in the league. It can't gone up drastically. Just from his year in Pittsburgh.
I think people, to go back to what I said about, I don't think the Steelers quarterback for 2027 is currently was on the roster or is currently part of this right now. I think that's where people are making the mistake. Well, Justin Fields is young. He could be your quarterback. He could be.
He could be.
He could be.
Right. And that's a home run.
That's
the best case scenario of all.
He also could not be.
Right.
You know, again, I don't. This organization.
There's a higher chance he's not.
There's a much better chance that he's not that guy than he is.
Yeah.
You know,
there might be a better chance that in 6 years Caleb Williams is not the Bears quarterback, than he is. I mean, Lawrence. I mean, it's hard to be.
The Rams decided Jared Goff wasn't their best way or best opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, teams give up on these guys. I just think that with the team that you have now, I can understand why there would be many people within the organization who would feel that Russell Wilson gives you the better chance to win. I said it before. I think Fields' floor is lower than Russell Wilson's floor.
Yeah, and I think a Fields-led Steeler team's floor is much lower than a Wilson-led in terms of wins and losses.
Yeah.
I could paint a picture where Fields is a starter and they win 5 games. You know, like it's disaster and there's nobody else and there's just nowhere to turn and you can coach him up all you want and you can play great defense, but he turns out the quarterback position's bad and then you lose a lot.
And,
you know,
5 wins, quite frankly, folks, I know people just go out and win 5 games and you'll get your quarterback
and
next year.
Everyone's going, that'd be great. Right. Then we'll end up with Arch Manning, you know, right.
That ain't going to get you Arch Manning.
Right.
It's not even going to get you in the conversation for Arch Manning. You're going to have to get.
And the people that own the team aren't cool with it.
Yeah, there's that. But to get to Arch Manning, you got to win 2 games.
Yeah. You got to be worse than a lot of really bad teams too.
You're winning 5 games and you're trading your next 2 first-round draft picks to get to Arch Manning.
It goes back to our
and there's no guarantee he's
and
the
you hope
dude.
he's awesome too.
Yeah,
and you know,
then you're churning that way. I mean, it's a tough situation. I get
it is.
You know, and the Steelers went 20 years in between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. And quite frankly, Roethlisberger fell into their lap.
Yeah, right. They didn't trade the one because they were smarter than everybody else.
Cleveland should have taken him.
Oh, absolutely.
But they had Jeff Garcia.
Which they were quite happy with. Trust me, I was there the year after that, right?
I mean, so
they were going to take someone from the U. You know, it was going to be Taylor or Winslow.
There's some luck involved. You know, when the people forget the Bills traded out of Patrick Mahomes. That was who Kansas City traded with.
Oh, I know.
To go up to get Mahomes.
Yeah.
The next year, then
they traded for. They got up to.
They went up to get Allen. They got lucky.
Right. They got lucky, right? I mean, does Lamar fall to 32 in most drafts? Probably not.
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah, there was just so many quarterbacks at the top.
And they had passed on him already.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is some luck involved, but you're right. The Steelers aren't going to be cool with going out there and winning 5 games.
Right.
Nor should they be with the roster that they have.
No, right. You think Cam Hayward's cool with that? No.
Not at all.
Of course not. Right.
And that's the thing, like, why don't they just tank this year? All right, you be the guy that goes in and tells Cam Hayward at 35, hey, Cam, we're going to stink this year.
We're going to be really bad.
So we can get our quarterback of the future. You won't be around when he's here, but we appreciate your time.
Your buddy TJ's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We're just going to be really bad, and people are going to run all over us, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll enjoy the season.
Right.
Whole bunch.
Well, that ain't happening, folks. No matter what you guys believe, tanking's not in the picture.
No, nor should it be.
Nor should it be. I don't think it's a successful endeavor in this league either.
Yeah, it typically doesn't work out.
Right.
For every team that it does work out for, there are 5 that they tank, and now they're the Browns.
Browns are the worst.
The Browns have tanked multiple times. It hasn't worked out for them.
No, I think the better approach is keep bringing in linemen. Try to build an Eagles roster, you know.
And then, you know,
they got Hurts in the second round.
Yeah,
you know, right.
At some point you'll get that quarterback. You'll catch lightning in a bottle.
And you might not need that quarterback.
Right.
You just might need
the right
best guy in
the right quarterback.
Right. Or the Rams go trade for Stafford at the right time. You know, that type of thing.
That works too.
Right.
You know, there are different ways to approach this. It just doesn't have to be now.
Because it's not going to be.
Because it's not going to be.
Right. And the quarterback's not going to be now either. I mean, you're not going to get Josh Allen this year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
But be patient, folks. The Steelers, for whatever you think about the Steelers, they are patient. They don't make any decisions until they have to make that decision. And we are a month away from them having to make any decision regarding their quarterback situation for 2025.
And I guarantee they're leaning one way. They have a plan.
They're
building a plan. You know, they're close to finalizing a plan.
They're not going to announce it from a mountaintop.
No. There's nothing to be gained.
But everybody, as soon as somebody mentions something, they're just grasping at, well, this guy said this and that guy said that.
No chance Wilson's going to be back. No chance Fields is going to be back. Like, I think there's chances of all the above.
Yeah. I mean, until it happens, there's always a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So you just wait it out and see what happens. Again, they don't have to play a game for 250 days.
No, right. And
they'll have a quarterback.
They'd be crazy not to make a couple calls of who's available via trade. Hey, Sam Darnold's agent, I'm curious. What would he cost? You need to know all this information to make
those things. Yeah.
Right.
And so they'll do
their. Of course, they're digging in the draft.
They'll do their due diligence on all of it, and they'll come up with an idea of what they want to do, and then they'll move forward.
Mm-hmm.
As
well as what kind of backup are we going to have for this guy?
Yeah,
right.
And all that's dependent upon. There are a lot of variables in place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of variables.
No, but it doesn't have to happen soon. It's not going to happen soon.
No.
I mean,
they're not going to
be a big announcement tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, Wilson signed a 4-year deal. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, there's just some next-level trolling going on.
Uh-oh.
With some people trying to sell this Super Bowl as a win for Kenny Pickett.
Oh, I've seen that. That's insanity to me.
We have people on our message board coming on and saying how embarrassing that is for the Steelers that Chris Oladokun and Kenny Pickett were in the Super Bowl, and one of them won the Super Bowl. Did anybody say that about the Lions when Charlie Batch won a Super Bowl ring as the backup to Ben Roethlisberger, or the Jacksonville Jaguars when Byron Leftwich?
Right.
No.
I mean, are we killing Carson Wentz for losing that game? I mean, he has much to do with it as Kenny Pickett did. He took a snap or whatever, right? Or a series.
Even the Pitt fans, both of them, who were out there cheering this like Kenny Pickett had made such a huge impact on this. Avonte Maddox made an impact on that game. He's
a quality player.
If you want to bring that up and thump your chest as a Pitt person, well, Avonte Maddox won a Super Bowl. Kenny Pickett didn't do anything but kneel on the ball.
No, and I know you're not. I hope Pickett goes on to have a long career.
I do too.
And retires with millions and ends up being a starter somewhere and all those good things.
But this next level trolling, like making this look like the Steelers screwed up, he wanted out of here.
I've gotten those tweets too. Like, if they would just kept Pickett, we wouldn't have any of these problems. Look how smart the Eagles are. Everything the Eagles touch turns to gold. Folks, I know he was the backup yesterday. They like Tanner McKee more than they like Pickett. They really like Tanner McKee. And if it was going to be a long stretch of one of those two starting, it wouldn't be Pickett. I can promise you that. And that's not a bash on Pickett. They like McKee.
He played in one game this year.
Yeah, right.
A serious amount of snaps. And they lost to Washington. Mm-hmm. Largely because Pickett couldn't do anything.
He couldn't do anything, right. And, again, I'm wishing him the best. But to be like, man, he showed you, I proved you right. He was a great first-round pick. No. I mean, he has not made it in this career, and yet.
Good for him. He won a Super Bowl ring.
Right. He should be proud of his ring.
Absolutely. Nobody's ever going to take that away from him.
Practice and in the quarterback room. And
Chris Oladokun has won a couple of Super Bowl rings as the backup for the Chiefs. He's played one career snap.
Doesn't mean the Steelers should have held on to him.
No.
Right.
That happens across the league.
Yes, that's just a backup quarterback.
I can. If we go back and look at the Super Bowl rosters. When the Steelers won Super Bowls, there are plenty of guys. Tyrone Carter, the Minnesota Vikings. He was a homegrown, hometown hero for the Vikings. They came out of the University of Minnesota. They let him go.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Or the 10th offensive lineman that gets a ring, or the 9th offensive lineman, or the guy, the inactive D tackle, or whatever. Okay, I mean, they probably win it without you.
Yeah, Steven Nelson was on the Chiefs roster too. They elevated him from their practice squad. Should the Steelers feel bad because Steven Nelson was in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I have seen some of the Pickett stuff.
Quite frankly, get a life.
You're right.
Get over it. It's done.
There was a stretch here where Pickett walked on water, and nothing was ever his fault. I thought that was gone. I mean, I thought we saw enough of him not being coveted by the league or the Eagles even considering putting him in the starting lineup.
The Steelers got more for Kenny Pickett than they gave up to get Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, they did.
I again, I don't know that the story is written on either guy.
No, I hope not.
And I still think Kenny Pickett could be a good quarterback in this league, but he's not there yet.
No, and I thought he did some good things here, too.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
were stretches that I was pretty excited about him, to be very honest with you. But he didn't want to be here. I'd rather have Fields or Wilson. I don't think the Steelers regret it one bit or got too little in return. I mean, and I'm sure, and that's a good Eagle thing. They did it with Becton. You know, like, again, I praise the Eagle front office. They go get high pedigree dudes and see what they can do with them. But if Becton didn't work out, nobody would care one bit. You know,
No.
I mean, it's a dart throw, and a couple darts hit the bullseye. Kenny hasn't yet.
If Kenny Pickett had come in and played in the Super Bowl, like the old backup, last.
Foles.
Yeah.
Oh, like if they had to start him,
if he had come in and played like Nick Foles and won the Super Bowl,
that's a whole different
that's
story.
a different story. I would get
Right.
I would get it.
I'd be like, wow, good for him. That's awesome.
That's
You know,
great.
Right.
Fantastic. You're right. The Steelers are wrong about that guy. But
Yeah.
simply him winning a Super Bowl as a backup quarterback and
Come in
taking
and kneel down or whatever.
take a knee 3 times and throw an incompletion, which was the dumbest thing that I've seen ever.
I mean, every backup quarterback could have done what Pickett did yesterday.
I could have done what Pickett did yesterday. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
I could have gone in, kneeled down 3 times, and thrown an incompletion.
Yeah, yesterday should not change your opinion on Kenny Pickett one bit.
100%. And if you're trolling over that, or you think the Steelers should be embarrassed over that, come on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
And hey, you loved him at Pitt, and you've been rooting for him forever. That's cool. You're a fan. You can be a Kenny Pickett fan.
Absolutely.
And he was great at Pitt, and he did some good things as a Steeler as well. But don't think for 1 minute they're like regretting. Oh man,
They
that guy
wanted
got a
him
ring.
back.
Yeah,
They wanted
right.
him.
Right.
He wanted out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not when they signed Russell Wilson, it was with the idea that Kenny Pickett would be the backup. They then called Kenny Pickett and said, "Hey, we're signing Russell Wilson. He's going to be our presumed starter for next year.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I want out." Okay. They then made the trade for Justin
Right.
Fields.
And that's the way.
Traded
that's
Pickett
the timeline.
and traded
Yeah.
for Justin Fields.
Right. And they would have been nuts to just roll with Pickett last year.
Right.
You know, and not make any kind of move. I mean, there's other moves they could have been that weren't Fields or Russ, but to be like, Kenny, you're the guy. You know, you're doing fine. We're happy with you.
It would have been,
that'd been
what
insane.
would have been foolish or embarrassing for the Steelers if they had done that.
If they had done that, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we just trust our evaluation from college.
Yeah.
He's fine. You know.
Or if they would have just rolled into this season, Kenny Pickett, no backup plan, after he had gotten benched at the end of the previous season.
Right.
In favor of Mason Rudolph.
Who outplayed him.
Who outplayed him.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it works, guys. I mean, there's not a lot of patience for that position.
You want to
Nor
tell
should
me
there
that
be, right.
they should have been embarrassed that they should be embarrassed that they didn't give Mason Rudolph a chance earlier? All right, I'll entertain that thought.
Listen, right.
But to just say, wow, they should be embarrassed that Kenny Pickett won a ring.
Yeah.
They've had lots of guys who've won rings elsewhere.
Tons. Some of them were a reason to actually help the team.
How about Mike Vrabel? Should they be embarrassed that they let Mike Vrabel go to the
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out what to do with him?
Right. Like the Rams should be embarrassed they couldn't figure out Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
and then go draft
The Hall
Lawrence
of Famer.
Phillips. Right.
The Jets should be embarrassed they couldn't figure out that James Ferrier was a really good football player.
And the Steelers aren't impervious to this either. You know,
It happens.
Kevin Dotson, he's better there than he was here. Okay, maybe they got something out of him we couldn't, and we should evaluate
Or
what we did wrong there. You know, right.
Sometimes a guy getting traded
Sparks them.
or
it's
him.
a different
Oh,
scheme.
man.
Or
Hey, I'm
exactly
not doing something right. I got too comfortable in my old job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Jerome was better here than he was with the Rams.
it's like getting
You're right.
fired.
Yeah.
Like, I got to reassess what's going on here in my life that
Right.
made these people not want me anymore.
If you're a Mekhi Becton, then life's been easy
Right.
for you because you're 6'11" and you're 500 pounds and you can run at 4'2". Maybe I don't.
The earth trembles when you walk.
Right, like you're Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, but there's been plenty of. I mean, you think the Bengals didn't regret Kimo von Oelhoffen leaving, and like, well, that guy's started in a Super Bowl for the Steelers.
James Ferrier,
happens
right? I mean,
across
there's a
the
million of them.
league.
Right. There's a million of them.
You know, James Harrison not only got cut by the Steelers, he got cut by the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. And those are the examples that are more prevalent. The Ferriers and Von Oelhoffens and Dotsons. A backup quarterback isn't the same.
Not the same thing at
Not
all.
the same.
That's just next level.
He did
trolling.
not contribute to their win.
No.
Maybe he gave Hurts a tip in the quarterback room once this year that stuck with him, or gave him a good look on scout team. But they didn't win the Super Bowl because of Kenny Pickett.
They did not.
Right.
They did not. They actually had made Super Bowls without Kenny Pickett.
Probably would have this year, too.
Probably had done so this year.
And I bet McKee could have kneeled out that game, too.
I'm pretty sure he could have. Absolutely.
And we're not knocking Pickett. I hope he goes on to be great. But I have gotten those tweets, too.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. That's going to do it for hour number 1 of the drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I'll be back with hour number 2 right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley, and welcome back to hour number 2 of the drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. He's the Matt Williamson. And Matt, it is time for our first post-Super Bowl mock draft.
I'm fine with it. Yeah, let's do it.
This is really the first official one.
Okay. Yeah, the offseason is here.
The offseason has begun. And so just to run through the picks here, Shedeur Sanders, Will Campbell, Travis Hunter.
The Steelers done anything at this point? I assume they have a quarterback, right?
They'll have a quarterback. Let's say they've done something at wide receiver.
Yeah, it's like a Slayton pickup or something like that.
Where they've signed one of the guys that are going to get released or traded.
Yeah, okay.
Something along those lines.
The receiver's not a huge need at the moment. Okay.
Cameron Ward, Mason Graham, James Pierce, Michael Williams, Tedero McMillan, Malachi Starks, Siobhan Revell, Ashton Genty, Tyler Booker, Tyler Warren, Will Johnson, Luther Burden, Derek Harmon, Nick Scourton, Jalen Walker, and Matthew Golden are all off the board.
Okay. Some good names there, obviously.
Top defensive. I'm going to break this into defense and offense here.
Okay.
Top defensive players available. Benjamin Morrison, Nick Emuwari, Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Jahdae Barron. Mike Green is still there. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but he's there. Trey Amos is still there. So there's a good number of defensive players that I like that are still on that list. Offensively, you're looking at Kelvin Banks, Cameron Williams, Josh Simmons, 3 offensive tackles, Colston Loveland, Egbuka, Armand Membo, Harold Fannin, Amarian Hampton, Trey Harris, Jalen Milroe. I like the defensive wise.
I would definitely go
a lot more.
Yeah, especially because of the need and where they're at, and they have a receiver of some sort in the mix.
We've got trade offers.
I'd say there's 3 guys I like quite a bit. Is Grant, Nolan, and Barron are my favorites, but they're not alone.
Yeah. The Rams are on the phone. They're offering picks 26 and 90 for pick 21.
It's a little risky going that far, but probably one of those 3 falls.
The Dolphins, they want 21, but they're offering 48, 98. Next year's 2 and next year's 3.
Yeah,
I don't love that. I
think the Rams are like this.
I'm going to reject that one
in this particular case.
Washington is on the phone. They're offering picks 29 and 79.
I think I'd rather deal with the Rams.
Is there a huge difference between 26 and 29?
Well, not if those 3 are gone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm torn between those 3 at 21. If they can make that decision for me.
This would be the situation where I would be on the phone, or I'd be talking to Sheldon White, my director of pro personnel, and saying, okay, what are these next teams, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
And there are still 3 offensive tackles available that are going to be,
I'm not sure would be
interesting.
Green is another name.
Green's another one.
Maybe
Egbuka,
a receiver.
Yeah.
Right. That would absolutely be a team need situation, which will be changed, off through free agency at this point too. Now, this is a random kind of.
If instead we could get Washington to give us 29 and 61.
I don't want to go all the way to 29.
If I can get 61 though as well.
61's nice. No, get me wrong.
As opposed to 79.
We could offer it up.
Opposed to 90, because the Rams don't have anything in between there. They have nothing else to offer us.
Okay,
that's the problem.
I didn't know that part. Okay. Anything has a price. I mean, if you're going to give me that kind of return, I'll listen.
If we give them 21 and 225, what do they say? They didn't like that.
I don't blame them. That seems like a lot to move up.
Okay.
That spot. What are the Rams offering? 90.
90 is the second pick.
Because they don't have anything in between.
Nothing in between.
I mean, we could try to come back and turn a 7th into a 6th or a 7th into a 5th, something like that. The end of the draft.
I want to do one more thing here.
right.
21 and 163. Does that get it done?
With Washington.
With Washington. That doesn't get it done. All right, then we can't do business.
Okay, yeah. That's a long way to go.
I would much rather have 29 in something in that second, third round as opposed to 90
at the end of the third.
Yeah. Like, you got to give me something more than just 26 and 90.
As I say, would you do 26, 90, and a fifth for
like
first
if I can
and
get
seventh?
126 out of them as well.
Yeah. I mean, spruce it up a little bit. If that's their opening offer, we'll get something more out of them.
I'd much rather have that than let's offer 225.
But my thing with 26 is I might take the same guy at 21 as I take at 26.
Right.
I don't think that'll happen at 29.
It could.
I mean, it could. Grant could fall or something like that.
I'm throwing some different offers at them here to see if.
With the Rams are talking to?
Yeah, I'm still talking to the Rams.
All right, sweetener.
They're not digging it at all here. I offered them 21.
I guess they don't have many picks.
21 and 163 for 26.90 and 126.
I guess if you're them, they can't afford to give up a ton of picks because they don't have many.
Well, that doesn't bother me.
Well,
that's their problem, not my problem. You want my pick. You got to give me something that I want.
Yeah.
Let me try this one.
What if we threw in a future fifth or something goofy like that?
They rejected that. Counter. I offered him both seventh-round picks for 192 to throw 26.90
in addition to that.
190. They didn't even like that. So they're standing pretty firm here.
I say take it.
Let's try something like this. Let's give them a 4. Let's go. We'll give them a future 5. Next year's 5.
Mm-hmm.
I want their 4 next year.
Okay.
A little more ammo next year. That one they took.
Okay.
All right. So
fair enough.
They got us an extra 4th round.
Can't accept the first offer.
No. There's negotiations. Now we have 3 trade offers on the board again here, and I don't like any of them. They're moving it completely out of the first round. So.
All right. So who went?
So in between there was they came up for Tyleik Williams.
Interesting. He was going to kind of be my fallback guy.
Benjamin Morrison, Kelvin Banks, Trey Amos, Armand Membo. We could have gone.
That doesn't hurt us bad.
Yeah.
I thought about Benjamin too. I just don't know how to comment on his injury. But if the world thinks he's fine, I would have gladly taken him.
So the 3 guys that we were talking about are all still available.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
Walter Nolan.
Me too.
Yeah. I like Jahdae Barron a lot.
A lot. And I think Grant is exactly what they need in the middle too. But I think Nolan's the best prospect and the hardest skill set to find of the 3.
Yeah. All right. Walter Nolan it is.
It's not a bad corner draft.
No, it's not.
Yeah. The day 2 corners aren't bad.
All right, we're back up now at 52. The Giants have an offer. They want to. They're offering 65 and 104 for 52. Titans are offering future picks to move up. Not interested at all. All right, let's see what we got available here. JT Tuimoloau, Maxwell Hairston, Barrett Carter, Kyle Kennard, TJ Sanders, Darian Porter, Kevin Winston Jr., Andrew Makuba, Denzel Burke, Chris Paul, Dorian Strong, Omar Norman Lott, Latham Ransom, Azareye'h Thomas.
I like the 3 corners. I like Thomas, Hairston, and Porter.
I feel like right now I like Hairston a little bit better.
Porter would probably be my 3rd of the 3.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing a lot of buzz he's going to go in the second
He's
round.
huge.
He's huge, right?
Huge.
I don't care which one.
Well, let's take Hairston.
That's fine. That's fine. He's their highest ranked guy. He's probably ours too.
Yeah. All right, we're back up now at pick 83.
And then we have the 91 coming around the corner.
Yes, we do. Washington wants to offer us pick 140. We're going to reject that. All right, top players available. You got Mason Taylor. Well, I should do all here. Mason Taylor, Savion Williams, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Royals, Azareye'h Thomas, David Walker, Alfred Collins, Ashton Gillette.
Do we think Alfred Collins is a nose?
I think he is. He just hasn't done it a lot.
Yeah, I'd say he doesn't align there, but he's
Yeah.
size and shape and everything, he's nose-ish.
Gunnar Helm, DJ Giddens from K-State, Jalen Reed, Shamar Turner, Cam Scatabo, Quinn Ewers, Howard Cross, Gray Zabel, still there, Ernest Green, Will Howard, Tony Horton. At some point, we do need to address something offensively.
Yeah, I like the receiver group. There was 2 or 3, Higgins and
I'm not big on
Williams.
People have Savion Williams ranked high. Where's the production?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Some of that's quarterback related as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy's, for as big and fast as he is, he's averaged like 10 yards a catch in his career.
Yeah, I know. That's the knock. What do you think about Higgins? I don't think we've ever drafted Higgins.
I like Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big-bodied,
Athletic.
fit in well, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be done at receiver. We said they signed somebody or added somebody. You could even entertain trading
My
Pickens.
question here is, though, is the running back situation going to be such that
So we got Pickens 7. There were 2 or 3.
we don't pick again? Well, we do have another pick at 7, yeah, and 7 picks.
There were 2 or 3 receivers. Of the names you mentioned, Scatabo is the only running back, but that doesn't mean there's not ones you didn't mention. You know?
Yeah, I'm just looking here at that group, and I don't know that it's going to be what we want at running back.
I would be fine with Scatabo and then take best receiver in a
At
minute.
the next pick. Let's do it that way.
Okay.
I'll bet there's still a receiver there that
I'd hope for Higgins, but I would be fine with Williams. I think you said Royal was one of them.
he was still there.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 that one of them's going to fall.
Okay. Ooh, not going to like this. Higgins went with the next pick. Then went Savion Williams.
Mm.
And Jalen Royals just went to pick before our
Wow.
pick.
I mean, we rolled it. I mean, that's a risk you take, obviously.
Yeah. There's still
But we already signed a receiver. I mean, we might not have to go receiver then.
Jack Beck is still there.
Oh, I'd take that.
Yeah. Jack Betches is.
Yeah, I would definitely take that. Good. That would have made the decision.
We're using the Pro Football Network's drafter today, by the way.
Oh, okay, okay.
Should.
So we got a back, a receiver, a D lineman, and a corner.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
All right.
I'd still
Well on our
consider
way.
nose here. Or,
Yeah. Top players available here at 122. Caden Prather, Carson Sweshinger, Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, Bushell Tootin, Anthony Belton, Jared Ivey, Jordan Hancock, Elijah Roberts, Ricky White. Ricky White's interesting.
I like that player. He was. I can't imagine adding 3 receivers.
No, but
offseason.
he'd be a
If
special
Pickens
teams
are on his way out
demon,
or something, right? You know.
Ollie Gordon, Jordan Birch, Jamari Caldwell, Dylan Gabriel, Fadil Diggs, Antoine Wells, Jeffrey Bassa, Quincy Riley out of Louisville. We could have 2 Louisville cornerbacks.
He's a value at this point too. I think
Yeah.
he'll be gone by then. I don't know slot capabilities of those 2, Hairston and Riley.
Should we take the tackle here?
I would say Belton's my favorite
Belton
pick.
kind of
here, though.
stands out.
Yeah, he might be a guard, but he sure looked like a tackle at the Senior Bowl.
Fit him in somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, take the Eagles approach and an extra lineman. You know,
All right, Anthony Belton it is.
he had a really good Senior Bowl week. He's huge.
Yeah, monster.
Develop him. You know.
All right, let's see here. The Chargers are on the phone. We're pick 163. They're offering us 177, 215, 220 for 163 and 247, which we really don't own.
What do you mean?
They have us with one too many picks on you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. We need
The
a lot
Steelers
of
don't
picks.
have 3 7th-round picks. They have 2.
They have 2. Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so
That's why I haven't used this mock drafter as much because they haven't updated their.
I don't know. We need the wealth of picks. I'd rather have quality over quantity at this point.
Yeah.
From this second half of the draft.
I'd rather get rid of picks that we don't have so we don't have to make them.
Well, that's not a bad move too.
What if they give us 177 and 183?
And we get rid of our.
We get rid of all of our junk.
And we could even offer them a future pick since we moved up in
Let's see if they.
next
Well,
year.
they took that. All right.
Okay, all right. That just cleans things up.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we're all cleaned up. All right.
So I don't want
So
to make picks we don't have.
we now have 180. We have 177, 183, 220.
Great.
There we go.
I'd certainly look at quarterback.
I'd look at quarterback. I'd also look at a nose.
Yes. Tight end wouldn't break my heart. a slot.
Guess who's still there? Josh Farmer.
Oh, sign me up.
J.J. Pegas is there. He's a nose. Riley Mills is there. He's a nose. Thor Griffin is there. He's a nose. C.J. West is there. Another nose.
Yeah.
Lots of noses here in this area.
I think Farmer's better than all those guys.
Yeah, I do too. Josh Farmer it is. Now we pick again here at 183. We've added 2 defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. We're done there.
We just go everybody. Ollie Gordon is there. Jordan James. Hunter Wohler, the safety out of Wisconsin. Theo Weiss, wide receiver out of Missouri. I'm just looking here if there's anybody. Somehow Devin Neal is still there. That's
some back is gonna fall that shouldn't.
Yeah. Curtis Rourke is there.
Okay.
Pat Bryant, the wide receiver out of Illinois.
What if you sorted just by quarterbacks?
Top quarterbacks available. You're looking at Rourke, Schuff, Riley Leonard, Brady Cook, Max Brosmer out of Minnesota.
Shuck's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think do it.
Done.
Okay.
Aw, shucks.
Shucks. I'd consider a tight end. I'd consider a safety / slot / special teamer.
I'm looking here at the tight ends. You got Jake Bringenstool, John Michael Gillenberg from Wyoming, Brant Kuth out of Utah, Benjamin Urosek out of Georgia, Jalen Conyers out of Texas Tech. I don't love this group.
No, so you're not blowing my doors over that.
Got a little picked over.
Another running back?
We can look that way.
Another corner?
Let me look here at the defense and see if there's what stands out. Upton Stout's available.
That's a favorite.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep. Some people have him listed as a safety. I think he's slot all day long.
All day long. He's Mike Hilton.
Yeah. No, I'm great with that.
Our draft is over.
Okay.
All right, so we ended up with
some of my favorite names, yeah.
At pick 26, Walter Nolan after trading down. We got Maxwell Hairston at 52, Cam Scatabo at 83, Jack Betch at 90, Anthony Belton at 122, Josh Farmer at 177, Tyler Shuck at 183, and Upton Stout at 220. We also got a 4th-round pick from the Rams.
Yeah, moved up
2026.
I would take that right now.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. I mean, I think like Betch was a value. Farmer was a value.
Belton was a value.
Yeah.
Like all those guys in that
whole neighborhood, right?
Were value picks.
And I don't think it's crazy. I don't think we got like a 1st rounder in the 4th round because these like guys' rankings are messed up. But it fell nicely for us. For the names we like and the team needs. And
again, you've addressed your defensive line with 2 guys.
Heavily.
With 2 guys. You addressed your secondary with 2 guys.
Mm-hmm. Very different.
You've added a wide receiver. As we said going into this, you've also added a wide receiver somewhere.
Somebody good. I mean, some kind of veteran. And Betch may not even be your 3 right away.
And a quarterback that...
Who knows? Yeah,
I like him.
Yo, I do too, yeah. I mean, for a late pick, I'd love to see him in camp and see what happens. And maybe he's a lifetime backup. Maybe he's more than that. Maybe he's a total bust, and so what?
Yeah, but 3 linemen on both sides of the ball. Couple of corners. Yeah, I think it addresses a lot of needs. You got Scatabo,
I mean, he's going to play a lot right off the bat.
Yeah.
No, I would take that draft in a heartbeat right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Sign us up.
Sign me up. And you move up for next year, too.
And you got something for next year. All right. Well, that's our first post-Super Bowl mock draft. Yeah, I like it. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, Dan Pizzuta on the 33rd team has put out his list of the top 100 pending free agents 1 month from today.
I know. I scrolled it this morning. It's a pretty good list. There's definitely some names to know.
Let's take a look at that. You got T. Higgins at number 1. No surprise there. Trey Smith at number 2.
I don't think he herped or helped his stock yesterday. I mean, he had some help with Carter, but he did fine.
Chris Godwin at 3.
I don't know if him or Higgins are going to leave town.
Javon Holland of the Dolphins at 4.
He's going to make a good buck.
He's going to make a good buck, and the Dolphins can't afford
they're
to keep everybody
right now, yeah.
They might have to trade Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. They're getting into some real rough waters right now.
Yeah. At 5, DJ Reed.
It seems high to me, but I'm a fan, and I think he's somebody the Steelers should consider. I don't know if he's going to be the 5th highest contract of anyone on the open
That's
market.
the problem is he's gonna get a lot of money to be. I mean, here he would basically be in the same role.
Same situation, right? A high end too.
Yeah,
I mean that's what you want.
6, and I don't agree with this. Khalil Mack.
Yeah, he's
34.
Yeah,
come on, man.
Yeah, he's still really good. Throw him on a good team, I get that, but he's not going to break the bank at his age.
7 is Ronnie Stanley.
I think he'll do well.
Left tackles are
left tackle.
8 is Josh Sweat.
He helped himself.
Yeah.
A couple of Eagles made some bucks last night.
9 is Zach Bond.
He helped himself.
Same
with Milton Williams.
What drives me crazy about the odds that come out right after the Super Bowl. So-and-so is the favorite. It's always the champion is always the favorite to repeat. First of all.
Yeah. I saw the Eagles are their best odds.
Well, right there are 2 of their main guys on defense.
And Williams is the other one, too.
They probably aren't going to be back.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not too bad for a Super Bowl contender to lose
Bad
3
enough.
of them, but I'm sure they'll draft D-line like crazy.
Number 10, Oso Digizua.
Okay. Quality player, too. So far, Reed's the only one for the Steelers I would have interest in.
11 is Charvarius Ward.
He's another corner of interest.
I don't know if he necessarily fits. I mean, he's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I mean, he's an upgrade.
Yeah.
But he's not a superstar.
12 is Stephon Diggs. That's a tough one for me, too.
Yeah, me too. I don't know where I'd rank him either, but I don't know what you get left. There's a lot of those kind of receivers on the market. 13
is Hassan Reddick.
Weird last couple of years for him.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
What's the league going to give him?
14 is Zach Martin. I think he's just going to retire.
I think he retires or is a Cowboy.
15 is Milton Williams.
He'll be higher paid than a lot of guys we've listed.
Probably
here.
higher paid than he should be.
Probably.
Now, he's a good player, but
you're
going to pay him $20 million. You're expecting him to come in and be
right
a $20 million.
I don't think
he's not going to
Christian Wilkins level free agent, but he's ascending and he's super talented.
Yeah. 16, Ernest Jones.
Okay. He's had a weird last year too. But I would think they'd want to bring him back.
17 is Cameron Bynum, the safety from the Vikings.
Side note, I don't see many franchise candidates this year. Fewer than usual.
Yeah.
2 or 3. I don't think there's many.
18 is Sam Darnold.
I'm surprised he's not higher.
Well, as he points out here, he ended up 16th among quarterbacks at EPA per play.
Okay. I get it. Yeah.
And they didn't finish real strong.
That's the big thing is the taste in your mouth at the end.
19, Talanoa Hufanga, safety from the 49ers.
A couple decent safeties, which I don't think the Steelers will be interested in, but
20 is Amari Cooper.
Does he do anything for you? I don't know what to think of his time in Buffalo.
Well, he's
a weird player to begin with.
He points out here that he was a much more efficient receiver after the trade to the Bills, even though his volume went down.
Yeah, he also was injured right away.
Yeah. He's a good route runner.
Is he 29, 30, something like
31.
That? Okay. Seems like he's been in the league a long time. You're probably buying him at somewhat of a discount.
I would think so.
I mean,
I think he's still a good player. I still think he commands respect in terms of you can't just.
He's had a very good career.
I'm not going to leave him singled up on my 5'10" cornerback.
No, right. I mean, if you went into next year
guys.
with Pickens, Cooper, Wilson, Austin, and Betch, I mean, he would have fit the mold from last segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not Devontae Adams, but he's still good. I've been going back and forth with him in my head. Like, it's good enough.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea.
Right. I bet he's under $20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think. 21, Kevin Zeitler. He's 35.
Mm-hmm.
22 is Will Fries.
Better player than his reputation implies.
23, Byron Murphy.
That one interests me. He's a little more zone than man, but he's takes the ball away. He goes inside. He goes outside. I think he's my favorite corner target.
I could get on board with that one.
Yeah.
24 is Malcolm Kuntz.
Yeah, it would not be a Steeler.
25, Trayvon Moehrig.
I don't know how they let him go. He's one of their few good defensive players, but
they haven't let him go yet.
Right.
And they have money.
They have money.
26 is Drew Dahlman.
It's fine. Steelers only a center.
No. 27, Asante Samuel.
That one interests
Junior.
me too because he's younger than those other corners. His injury stuff.
The injury stuff is troublesome.
Yeah. I think he's only 24 though.
25.
25. Okay.
Yeah. 28 is Alaric Jackson with the Rams.
I think he's gonna get paid pretty well.
He's going to get paid his 27-year-old tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
29, DeAndre Hopkins. That one I wouldn't be on board
That
with.
doesn't do much for him
No.
either, right? I guess that he did play most of this year with a bad knee.
They ain't getting
But
any
is that
better.
just the better at the beginning and the end, or
30 is Nick Bolton.
That's a reasonably big loss for them if they can't bring him back.
31 is Dre Greenlaw, the 49ers.
He's also maybe he's a year removed from the injury helps, but he's not gonna be a Steeler. But
32 is Justin Reed, the Chiefs.
he's a really good player. I think he's an underrated player. He can do some slot stuff, but they're not going to sign him.
No.
33
is Calais Campbell, 39 years old.
I know. He'd be next to nothing. I can't imagine him, being a Steeler.
No,
He still contributes. He's a freak.
I don't know what you pay him and what.
Yeah. I mean, that's how he was a year ago in the
Right.
market, and he didn't get a lot.
34, Aaron Jones. It's your first running back.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one, too.
35, Carlton Davis with the Lions.
Sort of interests me. I mean, I think he's his reputation is probably a little stronger than what he is.
Yeah, he's also
he made decent money.
I don't know if he solves your problem.
I don't either. It's okay. It's an upgrade, but it's not phenomenal.
36 is Mekhi Becton.
I don't think they'll be in. I assume he's going to be a guard for life.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
37 is Chase Young.
He had a really quietly had a very good year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not higher on that list.
Really bad team.
Yeah.
38, Cam Robinson.
I assume someone will pay him as a starter, but that's borderline.
39, Jamian Sherwood, linebacker for the Jets.
I don't know a ton about him, but I mean, I know he had a decent year and still young.
Yeah. 40, Justin Fields.
Yeah. He's ahead of Wilson on the list.
He's younger.
Yeah.
41, Nate Hobbs, cornerback for the Raiders.
That one interests me. He's
that
a
one's
bigger
interesting.
slot. Yeah. I mean, I think he can play outside. It's not what you want to do with him. But he's over 6 feet. He's mostly a slot. He's a quality player. I don't think his contract would be insane. Be nice to have a plus slot player.
Yeah, and it hasn't become official yet, but apparently Gerald Alexander's agent has gone out and said that the Steelers are bringing him back. He was with the Raiders last year with that coaching staff. He was their safeties coach last year.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were talking about coaches.
So you have a guy who had eyes on Nate
big
Hobbs
time.
last year.
He dealt with him a ton.
Yeah.
No, people love him. He's a tough guy. That's a real good target.
Yeah. 42, Juwan Johnson, tight end out of New Orleans. That's your first tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great year.
He's a move guy. I mean, he's more receiver.
Not a great year to be a free agent tight end.
No, especially this draft class, too.
43, Rasul Douglas. He doesn't really interest me.
I know. He looks the part, but
He's
I don't know
30.
that fixes your problem either.
44, Darius Slayton.
That interests me.
That would be
downfield, outside receiver, yeah.
45, Tyron Smith.
I don't know if he'll play football next year.
Yeah, be tough. 46 is Deo Adeyingbo, edge rusher out of Indianapolis.
Yeah, and former first-round pick. Just never really worked out. Injuries, too. He's not going to be for the Steelers.
47, Dan Moore Jr.
Mm-hmm.
48, James Daniels.
Yes, I think Daniels is right behind him on the list.
Yeah.
I remember.
49, Levi Ozarike, I should say.
Also not probably for the Steelers.
Another interior defensive lineman. 50, Keenan Allen. He doesn't interest me.
I don't think.
Yeah.
He'd have to be real cheap.
51, DJ Jones.
That's one veteran name I like. He's 30-ish, I think.
He's 30.
He's a nose. He's a run stuffer. He's going to make decent money. Coming off a good defense. I'd rather draft that guy, don't get me wrong, and it just makes you a little older on defense.
Yeah, another 30-year-old.
Right. But they could have sure used him this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 52, Dante Fowler.
Yeah, she's having a pretty good year.
He's now 31.
Yeah. Edge guy.
53, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
54, Ryan Kelly.
I don't know if he'll come back either. He kind of feels like a Zach Martin, Colts or bust type guy.
Yeah, 32.
Is that what he is? He's had injuries too.
55 is Tevin Jenkins.
He's starting to play a lot better. Moved him from tackle to guard.
I don't know how anybody named Tevin can ever. 56, Marquise Brown.
I think he's going to make a pretty decent buck.
I don't know if he will or not.
I don't know. I mean, there's just not many good receivers out there. He'd be higher on this list for me than that.
There wasn't a. I mean, he didn't show a ton this year.
No,
coming back.
But there's not much tape to even really go off of.
57 is Elijah Molden.
Doesn't do a lot for me.
58, Dante Jackson.
Yeah. You hope he signs a nice contract elsewhere.
59 is Baron Browning, the edge rusher out of the
I kind of like him, but he'd be a 4 here.
Yeah. 60, DeMarcus Lawrence.
It's probably that low.
33 years old.
I know
that's
he's
why.
older and coming off of an injury.
61, Mike Hilton.
I'm not interested in bringing him back, I don't think.
He's 31 years old.
Right. He was never fast to begin with.
62, Najee Harris. That's your number 2 running back on the list.
Someone's going to like him.
63, Zach Ertz. That's your number 2 tight end.
He's having a pretty good year.
64, Patrick McCarry.
You'd love to have him. I just don't know what the cost is.
Honestly, I think he should probably be higher just because he can fill.
Right. The versatility is really important. He's not a master of any, but he's a jack of all, you know?
Yeah. 65, Dayami Brown with the Commanders.
What's that do for you?
He's 25 years old. He's
flashed
produced,
this year.
Yeah.
He's downfield dude.
Is he too Calvin Austin-like?
He's bigger.
He's bigger than him, but not a great deal bigger.
No. I mean, I think he's a lesser Slayton.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still be in the market for an early draft pick if that's all you did.
Yeah. He would be useful, though.
Mm-hmm.
66, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. I mean, I bet he's a starter somewhere next year.
67 is Levante David.
Really declining. I would assume he's going to be a buck or nothing else.
Yeah. 68, Morgan Moses.
I mean, he's not for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone pays him like a starting right tackle.
69 is B.J. Hill.
What about that one? Again, I'd
Again,
rather
he's
draft.
30.
I know. I'd rather have Jones from the Broncos by a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think Hill was the problem. But I don't know if he's the answer either.
Yeah. The tape wasn't pretty this year for anybody on that defense.
Another 30-year-old defensive lineman doesn't really make me do cartwheels, but I'm interested in Jones.
70 is Bobby Wagner.
Wonder if he comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe it was okay this year.
71 is E.J. Speed.
He's fine.
Yeah. 72, Derek Barnett. 70.
Who did he play with last year?
The Texans.
Okay. Former first-round pick.
73 is Dennis Gardeck, edge rusher for the Cardinals.
Better than people think. But
another 31-year-old.
No one knows who he is.
Yeah.
Right. He came in the league old and late bloomer.
74, Andre Sisco.
Not a decent player. I mean, he is a decent player. I mean, he'd be your third safety here. Kind of volatile. I don't know if he can play.
A little volatile.
Right.
Not a kid anymore. Sisco is not a kid anymore.
Not a kid.
He's 25. 75, Jeremy Chin.
I like him as an in-the-box versatile safety. He had a decent year, but I don't know if they'll be in the market for those guys either.
76 is Julian Blackman. A lot of safeties.
I always liked him, yeah.
A lot of safeties.
I was thinking that, though. I mean, as I was scanning this list the first time, like, does the first 2 waves of free agency go by and Chin or Blackman still out there and you have more cap space than everybody else and you say he's better than KZ and, you know.
You could upgrade that.
It's not terrible, right?
You're going to play 3
a lot
at times and guys get hurt and okay.
If it's a buyer's market, which I expect it will be.
77 is Jerron Reed.
I always liked him, but he's too old.
He's 32 now.
Yeah.
78 is Paulson Adebo.
That's one of my faves. I thought he was playing quite well before he broke his jaw.
He gets targeted like crazy.
Yeah.
Teams just throw at him.
Yeah. He wouldn't be the answer. It would be, to me, a Adebo, Trice, and a second-round pick.
Yeah. I'd rather roll the dice with Trice.
I don't think Adebo would be real expensive coming off an injury, though. He's younger.
Sometimes you get what you pay for, too.
Mm-hmm. I think he shut out on one of the better guys.
Well, yeah. 79, Jedrick Wills.
Yeah.
I pronounced it right.
Yeah, he did.
It's bigger type here than it usually is. 80, Azeez Ojulari.
I'm surprised he's that low.
I am too.
I mean, he's a first contract guy. He's flashed. Probably won't be back. I would think someone pays him like a starter.
81, Robert Spillane.
There's still a lot of love for him. It's fine. I would think the Raiders bring him back.
82, Stephon Gilmore.
He's what, 33 now? 34.
34.
Yeah.
83 is Mike Gesicki.
Someone will use him. Maybe the Bengals.
84 is Matthew Judon.
Kind of a disappointing year.
Yeah. Well, he's 33 now.
Yeah,
he
he's
might
getting
be
up and old, right?
Might be done. 85, Poona Ford.
That's not a bad player. I don't think he fits what the Steelers want. I mean, he's like 5'10".
he's
a bowling ball.
Somebody just went on his head and pushed him down.
I can't imagine them being interested in that guy. But
86, Ben Bredesen, the guard for the Buccaneers.
He's a starter.
87, Brandon Scherf. This must be the guard area here.
Mm-hmm.
88, Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith's got to re-sign with the Vikings if he goes anywhere, right?
He's one of these. He's like Zach Martin.
Yeah,
like he's got to be a lifer. With
36 years old
if he plays at all.
89, Chauncey Golston.
Yeah,
not real exciting.
No.
90, Terrell Dodson.
Okay, not real exciting.
No. 91, Demarcus Robinson.
How old? 28?
30.
Yeah.
That doesn't excite me a whole lot.
No.
Nor does 92, Will Hernandez.
No.
93 is Kelvin Beachum. I can't believe he's still.
Good for him.
Yeah, good. It's tremendous.
Yeah, 7th-round pick that's still hanging on.
Put it this way. Kelvin Beachum turned into James Conner for the Steelers.
Yeah, for a comp pick.
The comp pick that they got for losing Kelvin Beachum was James Conner. And James Conner's
hanging on
30.
for dear life. Right, yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Good for Kelvin Beachum.
Yeah.
94, Christian Fulton.
Again, it's a consolation prize.
It doesn't do a lot for him, but he's a high upside guy.
There's ability there.
Yeah. 95, Kaiser White.
Okay. Linebacker, they won't be interested.
96, Mike Williams.
I get it. I could see somebody giving him better than league minimum.
97.
Maybe I even would here.
Yeah. 97 is Tershawn Wharton.
Okay.
Rotational guy.
Yeah.
98, Olamide Zacchaeus, the wide receiver with the Falcons.
Mm-hmm. He's not terrible. He's kind of more of the same of what you have.
Yeah. 99, Justin Simmons. And 100, this one's going to be interesting. Patrick Ricard.
Yeah. I'm sure they want to keep him back. Are other teams going to want to explore that? I mean, the Chargers do.
Yeah.
Is there other teams that want that type of player?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
I could see, somebody saying, hey, either way, he's going to cost them more money this year than he probably did last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a long time ago, but remember when Juszczyk left there? The Niners made him the highest paid fullback ever. Like people, if you're after one, that's the guy you want.
You want to create that kind of mentality. Hey, we're going to play big.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
31.
I say he had to come in the league older. I mean, he wasn't a young pup. And folks, as we always say, there's 30 to 50 other names that are going to get cut.
Oh, that's the big thing. I mean, this is nowhere near a final.
No. 2 or 3 of those guys, 2 or 3 will get franchised. 10 will re-sign in the next month or whatever. 8 maybe.
But these are the guys who are currently headed for free agency. These are not the guys who've been cut.
Devontae Adams is on that.
That'll
list
start coming out here in
right.
the next couple of weeks. We'll start hearing this guy's going to get cut. Javon Hargrave's not on this list.
Right,
Well,
but
they've already said they're going to cut him.
Yep. I mean, Cooper Kupp could be on that list.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers could be on this list somewhere. I don't know.
There's going to be a lot of them, right?
But yeah, so it's going to change. But that's an early look at that. And
there was realistically maybe 12 names I would call their agents.
This
from
is
the Steelers.
When we look at and when we say this is why you draft a defensive lineman and maybe sign a cornerback, there's more cornerbacks on this list than there are defensive tackles.
No question.
Yeah.
I don't mind the corner list.
Yeah.
And the D tackle list, the guys I like are 30.
Right.
I mean,
that's the thing. Do you want to get older at that position?
Yeah. Not really.
Not really.
Yeah. No, right.
At some point, you do have to get younger at that spot.
And 30-years-olds aren't cheap always.
No.
I mean, you have to spend money.
Cost a little more money.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the early look at the free agent list there from Dan Pizzuto on the 33rd team.
We're going to be talking those names a lot.
Yep. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And, of course, you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday on these very airwaves. You can also download the Steelers mobile app and get everything, all the greatest content that's on there. And you can watch our YouTube channel and leave us comments and tell us how dumb we are and whatever. Yeah. Just ask questions. Do you like to go on there?
You can be nice, too.
Yeah, you could do that. But anyways,
allowed, right?
Yeah, let's get to a break. Again, he's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. This is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, to finish up the show here, NFL.com has a little look here ahead at free agency as well by Matt Akata. And the 6 teams that will be hit the hardest in free agency.
I'm going to read that tonight. I think the way that I interpreted it is these teams got a lot of work to do.
They're
swinging up
serious, so honorable mention goes to the Washington Commanders. They have 28 unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, and
that's over half your team.
That's an approach some teams do. Like the Texans used to do this when they were really bad, and where they just sign
a
one-year rentals and see what sticks, and that's great. You get a lot of dudes giving 110% and all that, but then you got to figure out 28 roster spots.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting
for them.
We mentioned
a couple of them, Ertz, and this last segment.
The Saints.
They're a disaster.
They're $54.1 million over the cap.
I think the Browns are the only team in worse shape. I don't know who else is on this list, but we've detailed the Browns situation a lot. They're in hideous shape. I think the Saints are in second worst.
The top 6 for him. The Vikings they have $58 million in cap space, but you're looking at Cam Robinson, Dalton Reisner, Aaron Jones, Harrison Smith, Byron Murphy, Stephon Gilmore, Cameron Bynum, Jonathan Bullard, Shaq Griffin, Jerry Tillery, among others that are going to be there. And, oh, by the way, what if they do want to bring back Sam Darnold?
I would say Darnold's the thing everyone's talking about. Oh, they could franchise him, trade him, blah, blah, blah.
They could.
They have no corners, I don't think, under contract. I mean, like their top 3 or 4 on a Flores-led defense. And, side note, with all their trades, they don't have any day 2 picks.
Also, both safeties.
And both safeties.
Yeah.
That's right. So the whole secondary.
Essentially your entire secondary.
I don't know that you can bring Darnold back. I mean, maybe you can restructure Jefferson or something like that and make some space, but that's a little hairy. They pushed their chips in for McCarthy.
Yeah. At 5 are the Jets.
They just need so much.
They have $20.9 million in cap space.
Don't have a quarterback.
They don't.
Did they make more with Rodgers' release?
I don't believe that they do.
I didn't think so either.
I think it costs them money.
I think it is dead money.
You got guys like DJ Reed, Javon Kinlaw, Jamian Sherwood, Solomon Thomas, Jalen Mills, Hassan Reddick, Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses.
I say both tackles.
Yeah.
I know they drafted one last year.
And at some point, they do have to look at extensions. This is the problem with
you trade Garrett Wilson.
Drafting all those guys in the same draft class,
which
is fantastic. But Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall,
they're all up.
They're all coming
Wilson's
up for
already talked about, I'd like to get out, and Adams won't be back, And
are they going to be like,
new coach.
This is going to look really bad next year? Like, well, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I would say the Quinnen Williams of the world start looking at it like Myles Garrett and say, dude, this isn't fun for me. I'm getting up in age. I went out too.
Yeah. The 49ers, number 4 on this list. They have $48.2 million in cap space, but they got to re-sign Brock Purdy.
Which I think they will.
Extend him, I should say. Hufanga, Javon Hargrave, Javarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, Isaac Yiadom, Aaron Banks, who's a starting guard for them.
We know Hargrave won't be back.
Know that. They're talking about wanting to get rid of Deebo Samuel. Like they're going to clear out some space so they can –
Debo's going to go.
Your quarterback's going to go from making about $2 million a year. He's going to make a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Even
Might
if
be 50.
No matter what you do in terms of
might not kill you this year. You know how contracts go.
But he's still going to cost you more than $2 million. It's going to be $10 million maybe with the way you
and
move
the other
numbers
name
around,
is,
but still.
Trent Williams has been so important to you. And he's
can't afford him.
Super old. He's really expensive, and he had off the field tragedies. Maybe he just retires.
Yeah.
He didn't play at the end of the year.
3 is the Cowboys.
I wouldn't have put them in that pile.
They
And
have
they have a lot of names.
minus $2.8 million. So
Yeah.
$2.8 million over the cap because they signed Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb in the offseason. Well,
You got Parsons
Micah
looming.
Parson wants a deal.
Yeah.
Like, what are
People
you
talk
gonna do there?
about Garrett going there. I'm like, I don't know how you can afford that. Just 'cause he's from Texas.
You got DeMarcus Lawrence, Eric Kendricks, Jordan Lewis, Odighizuwa, Zach Martin.
Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing with those guys?
You still probably want to add a back, another receiver, another pass catcher of some sort, a lot on defense. That's a tough one.
Yeah. The Falcons are $11 million over the cap.
They pushed their chips in pretty strong this past year.
Yeah. Now, Cousins will take care of some of that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of dead money, though.
But there'll be some dead money involved. Justin Simmons, Mike Hughes, Matthew Judon.
The Simmons and Judon moves late in the process, or pushing your chips in to win now that didn't pay off.
Didn't work out. And then you got
And
guys.
I'm pretty sure they gave up a third-round pick for Judon too, which they don't.
Pitts, London, Tyler Algier. What are you doing with him?
London's the one you want to extend,
Right.
Yeah.
And then number one, worst cap situation.
I'm not saying the Steelers will do it because Arthur Smith, but Pitts could be a guy that's a sneaky trade candidate. That somebody might be interested in. This one's kind of hairy. Yeah.
The Dolphins.
Yeah.
$11.6 million over the cap. Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland, Emmanuel Ogbah, Calais Campbell. You have
both starting safeties.
Offensive lineman Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg.
It's not a great line to begin with.
It's not a great line, but you're going to lose a lot on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to lose them all.
And Tua's contract kicks up this year, I think, too.
Yeah.
A lot of talk of Tyreek being on the move.
Would make a lot of sense because they're going to be way over the cap. They're not winning next year.
No. I wonder. I'm trying to think who else would be attractive to other teams that would give you cap relief. Jalen Ramsey, maybe. Tyreek, certainly. Would Armstead be back? He's almost in the same situation of like Trent Williams, where you need him to be, but
I'm sure they don't want to trade Waddle, but
right. I thought a year ago Waddle could be
you almost can't keep both of those guys. And
right.
Obviously, you'd rather keep Waddle since he's a younger player.
He's a younger guy. No, they look like they're going backwards.
Yeah.
What's crazy is them and the Jets.
You pushed all your chips in and didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah. The East looks pretty weak all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo. I don't know if Buffalo's going to get better. I think they'll probably be kind of status quo, but they should run away with the division next year.
You would think.
Yeah, the other teams are in bad shape. At least New England's going the right direction.
The Jets might battle Cleveland to be the worst team in the
I would
league.
say they're starting to really have that bottom outlook about them.
Absolutely.
There's teams like the Saints like that too that are pretty bleak.
Pretty bleak.
For winning games this year.
Yeah.
And it's this year now.
It's
not next year.
It's now we're talking this season, this upcoming season.
Yep.
We're talking draft, we're talking all that good stuff. So we're on to the next one because it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It all matters.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore. All right, who cares? Nope, it matters.
It matters a lot. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's show. So for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site running the Justin Miller hotline and the soundboard, which we appreciate, for Tyler Ventmeyer and Tevin Dandridge here, making sure that our video gets out there onto YouTube. I'm Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.